to order on September 2nd, 2025. Town Clerk, would you like to take the roll?
Here.
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 He had sent me a
Excused,
message saying
yeah.
he was not able to attend.
Here.
Here.
He's walking in the door right now.
Here.
I am here, thank you. We're going to salute the flag. Up next, we have no public hearings and receipt of citizens' petitions, comments and concerns. Receipt of citizens' petition is a portion of the council meeting where the council welcomes comments from the citizens. To address the council, please sign the sheet on the table in front of the meeting room. When you are recognized by the mayor, please approach the podium, clearly state your name and address, and speak into the microphone. Each presentation should be limited to 2 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. The total time allotted for this portion of the meeting is 30 minutes. In order to preserve the order of the meeting as referenced in Rule 5H of the Rules and Procedure to govern the 34th Town Council. Up first is John Goodrich. Your question.
My question is, from my understanding in the rules that we're supposed to vote on this, that the rule that you're referencing gives the mayor the opportunity and the option to make sure that when we had our town speeches that we were controlling the time. But as a council, we have not voted on this as an entire group to follow this particular policy. This is something that showed up in our packet, and we've never had a fair shot individually to vote on this item. And per the rules, we're not following them.
Rule 11.
May I respond?
Sure.
The section 5H says presentations can be limited by the mayor. And the other rule you're speaking about, the citizens petitions, is up to 5-minute limit. And if it is to go above 5 minutes, from my understanding, if it's supposed to go beyond 5 minutes, the council would vote on that. And it has been precedence from previous mayors, and it has always been the way, is the mayor sets the time limit if it is under 5 minutes.
So the other section, you wanted to speak.
This
so I
is not
wasn't
a,
finished.
we cannot get into
My
debate about
point-
this. I've answered your point of information. We have
But
to
the
move on
point
now.
of information on that, though, also is that limiting it to 30 minutes is stifling people's freedom of speech.
That is not a question.
My question, are we following proper FOI and public and fair equal access due to the fact that if somebody shows up here tonight, right now that we have people here because of another issue. So if 20 of them show up to speak and you're only allowing 30 minutes, we only offer it once a month. If other people want to talk about their yard or their dog problem or other things that are happening in their town, you're telling them that they cannot speak tonight because you're limiting it to only 15. We did not vote on that. That's not fair. It's not fair to our community. It doesn't matter if we have an issue going on in our community or not.
That you're debating now, you're not. Your
Okay,
question
well,
has been asked.
We should vote on this as a council.
You would like to vote on it?
I think it should be voted, yeah.
Then you need to bring forward.
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to vote on this proper.
You have to make a proper motion.
My motion is, I recommend that we reconsider receipt of citizens petitions rules.
It's
here
not
as
considered a
defined.
reconsideration. It's a motion to what?
To,
First, you have to suspend the rules.
so what would you like? You tell me what you'd like.
Councilor Bordelon, I'm sorry to say this, but you've been doing it for 6 years. So
I don't appreciate the insults. Thank
you know the process and the procedures
It
that have to be
changes
done.
every day up here.
So
I would like to
first you
make a
need to
motion
suspend the rules.
To suspend the rules to re-look at this, because I don't know how we're suspending when we never even voted on it
So
at
the
all.
question on the floor is to suspend the rules. Do I hear a second? I do not hear a second on that.
Thank you.
So we're receipt of citizens petitions, comments, and concerns. Up first is John Goodrich.
Good evening, everyone. John Goodrich, 74 Irving Street, Mystic, Connecticut. So my comments are not directed toward Councilor McBride nor Councilor Bordelon. I just want to make that clear. I hope you guys look around and understand, for all of you, the last 2 years have been nothing but a complete failure. You have police people guarding this place. You have barriers keeping the public away. You've embarrassed us in front of hundreds of thousands of people nationwide. So take that into account. That being said, one thing that's really bothered me is one of you being singled out unfairly. And frankly, that's Mayor Franco. I see everybody attacking Mayor Franco, but she's not the one solely doing this. It's all of you. It's a corporate culture in this town. You know, I've got our town manager wanton, willfully, and maliciously attacking me. He sent 300 emails to my chairperson attacking me, supposedly. It was published in the April 30th, the Connecticut Examiner. When Councilor Rusk decided to release the draft findings, and I'm sorry, John, if you don't like this word, but I believe in telling the truth, the town manager lied to Russell Blair, said there was an FOI to release it. That was on, I have the emails, and I'll email tell you guys so everybody else can FOI it. But that was on June 5th. The first FOI came in June 11th. So John, with that type of foresight, if you can get me the Powerball numbers tomorrow, I'd really appreciate it, because you can look into the future, my friend. And then we have Ms. Rusk running for mayor of the city of Groton, who said in public that I cost the town of Groton $21,000 in legal fees. Except when I FOI the bill, it's $938. Kind of a big difference, Jill. $938 and $21,000. Hopefully you can do better
Thank
math
you.
if you become the mayor of the city.
Up next is Joe Delacruz.
Thank you, Joe Delacruz, 95 Corey Road. I'm originally came here because you guys are gonna disperse the opiate settlement funds tonight. We actually had a large group of people that were gonna come here and show support, but it's, these folks aren't ready for this kind of a situation. It's pretty tense in here. I do want to push back, and I'm not really going to talk about the opiate settlement fund tonight because, you know, I am a First Amendment guy, especially what's happening in our country right now. I think there's a lot of things that maybe you could put your camera work to good use following around ICE. But what I don't understand is how this is getting adjudicated at a town council meeting. There's nothing that these folks, I've served on the council 2 terms. I served on the RTM for 3 terms. I was a state representative. There was no point in time where any of these folks were going to be able to change something or fire a police officer or do whatever the people thought they were going to be able to do. I think you won. You're going to have your day in court. In America, everything gets adjudicated. I'm sick to my stomach these days thinking about what's happening. Then I pull up here on this night, getting ready to talk about the great work that we've been doing, having over 250 people at Ocean Beach with Community Speaks Out and people being very positive, and then having to come in. And I wasn't going to say anything. I saw there's a big billboard out there with a council meeting going on. The one thing that I don't think you guys understand is, and you may not understand it because you're on the other side of the camera, the folks that are putting this stuff up there, but I don't know if you understand the emails and the hate that they're getting. I've read many times where all you councils apparently started getting paid, because when I was there, it was unpaid. And to find out, you're still unpaid. So you guys are up here pretty much as good standing community members, and to go through what you're going through, and again, this really does go through a system. We have a court. You guys, you did win. I mean, the police officer got arrested. You're going to be in court. You're going to have your day in court. I just don't understand why we're frying our council here. Thank you guys for all the work that you do.
Thank you. Up next, Decency Defenders.
Madam Mayor, Mr. Manager, members of the council, you all know me. I won't give my name and address to protect myself. I'm here with others in the audience and many at home not comfortable coming here and being in this room tonight. I'm here to say thank you and I'm sorry. Thank you for volunteering your time as many of you have done for years and years and years, serving us, the residents of Groton. It is appreciated by many of us, and we're sorry that you're being subjected to verbal abuse, harassment, and threats. Are you kidding me? From people who don't live in Groton. I live in Groton. So do the people who support you. It feels to me like our town and our town council meetings have been hijacked, and I find that very disturbing. We saw it at the citizens' petition at the August meeting, and it just so happens I received a message on my home phone that was for one of you, but I got to hear what you're being subjected to. The abuse, the name-calling, the profanity. I was horrified, and I was very, very glad I don't have any young children living in my family, and that my grandchildren weren't there to hear that message. It was appalling. Citizens' petition is supposed to be a time for us, the citizens of Groton, to come and talk to you. But the time that we get to do that is being usurped. That's very disturbing to me. I've never seen anything like it in my 30 years of participation. And so I close with just saying, know that you have lots and lots and lots of support from the citizens of this town.
Thank you. Your time has
you.
expired. Up next is Ian Thomas.
Ian Thomas, 24 Jefferson Drive, full disclosure, Board of Ed member and spouse of Councilor Bordelon. Real quick, because that's all we got. The mayor spoke at the Board of Ed meeting back in the end of July, and one of her comments was pointed towards me regarding the FOI complaint that I successfully litigated against the town. And basically saying that I cost the town money. That is not my problem. The violation of the rule was a problem that needed to be addressed. The problem, if anyone's concerned about what the costs that were incurred by that case, should talk to the town manager, the town attorney, or the people that chose to pursue the defense of that, because it was clearly an error. And so the attorney advised you to move forward, or maybe you pushed the attorney to move forward, but those are the people that chose to try to defend against that complaint. The complaint was pretty cut and dry. As far as the new town council rules for citizen petitions, 5H is not being applied correctly. 11A governs the adjustment of time. All the time that I've ever witnessed, I've never seen time lengthened by a majority vote. I've seen it shortened by a majority vote, all situationally dependent. 5H was passed about 3-4 years ago when Mayor Melendez wanted to curtail some of the presentations and updates that were chewing up a lot of meeting time. That was the intent behind that rule. So this willful misinterpretation that's occurring now is just a more revisionist history. So I would encourage this council to reconsider the situation, or actually just consider it and do it under 11A, do it properly. Thank you.
Up next, Patrice Weaver.
It's Patricia Weaver, 75 Brandy Avenue, Groton, Connecticut. Good afternoon, Town Council. I'm sitting here before you to talk about the 3 new streams of revenue that are coming into our town: the opioid settlement funds, the cannabis funds, and the NIP taxes. I was on the RTM, served for 2 years when the opioid funds became available. I encouraged John Burt to fill out the paperwork so that we can get access to them. Back then, I spoke very passionately about how these funds are supposed to be used for education, prevention, and treatment. We are blessed in Groton to have several service providers, not just one. I have nothing against the one that gets all of the donations from our town. I petitioned at that time for us to have a process to vet them, like ARPA funds. I was told at that time, it's only $129,000, why bother splitting $129,000? I don't know, because we have compassionate, caring people that are in these organizations helping our homeless population, our addicted population, and our domestic violence population. And just because homelessness and domestic violence are not primarily addicted, they're comorbid. And our population is growing. And this is not about the goodness of one, it's about the goodness of the whole. And as in your rules, you have to take into consideration that this stream of revenue, the opioid funds are 18 years. The cannabis funds are ongoing. The NIP taxes are ongoing. Altogether, it's about $250,000 a year. And to just arbitrarily vet that to one source because of favoritism, quite honestly, and that should have been recused because somebody's an outgoing person, there is no deadline to disseminate these funds. We had ample time and were promised last time that we were going to vet these funds. And hypothetically, it just came up in a meeting with no public comment, and 4 days later, a decision was made. I'm asking the
you.
council to reconsider their vote.
Thank you. Your time has expired. Thank you.
I realize that. And quite frankly, I don't
Up
understand why you
next
didn't
is
recuse
Michael
yourself from
Boucher.
this, because
Boucher.
you're showing favoritism to that organization, Rachel Franco.
Up next is Michael Boucher. Yes, Michael Boucher.
Groton, Connecticut. There are many red flags in the town of Groton's application to use community investment funds to bail out the city of Groton's epic failure to manage the Shore Avenue seawall reconstruction. Both the state of Connecticut and the town of Groton failed to vet this project properly and fully. This bailout application for CIF funds was written up by the contractor who is owed money on the seawall. This bailout application for CIF funding was not in the agenda or on the agenda package. Director Reinhardt provided information that ledge and other stuff were hit, but little else, which was completely lacking in known information and thus misleading. Councilor Rusk blocked another councilor's request for more information and now has positioned herself to be the paid mayor of the city of Groton. The town had been negotiating with the city long before the CIF application with respect to the millions in cost overrun that the city has incurred in the seawall project. The city of Groton has failed miserably with its foolish attempt to follow through on an incomplete RFP for the seawall project, and BL companies who wrote the RFP should be contacted. GU should have provided the exact location of its utilities for the RFP. Essential information was ignored. Even the Groton Town Manager's report in 2021 describes the sewer main, as part of the seawall. The width of the seawall was never determined. More importantly, the design of the seawall required the ability to anchor it to bedrock. Only 3 test borings for a 350-foot seawall were completed for the RFP, and one of those borings failed to show bedrock at an acceptable depth. There was no follow-up on this extremely critical component to the seawall RFP. Again, please contact the designer of the seawall BL companies. I am not aware of any studies of the seawall's integrity that proved anything was wrong. The seawall was built around 1880, withstood many high tides, storms, and hurricanes, including the famous Long Island Express. Any
Thank
roads
you.
or utilities were
Your
added
time
after
has
the seawall's
expired.
completion, and the city of Groton
next
chose
is
to do
Annette
infrastructure
Eldridge.
work around the completed wall and
Thank
should have
you.
been made aware.
Annette Eldridge.
And I have lots more information. But
And I'm sorry, it's Tom O'Farrell. Tom O'Farrell is next. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Tom O'Farrell, Brookshaven Road in Groton. I wanted to bring to your attention an issue with the new gas station, not so much the gas station, but the car wash that just went live, so to speak, at the top of Long Hill Road. There seems to be quite a lot of light pollution that's really affecting the neighborhood behind it. And I really wanted to emphasize that that car wash was 3 lots combined into 1 lot. One of the lots was actually Brookshaven Road, which is not. It's in a CN zoning, but Brookshaven Road is a residential street. And they have interior lights. It seems like the whole lot is excessive with the lighting, but the interior lights run 24 hours a day. It's like living next to a dance hall, because the side of the building is almost all windows, and you see red, white, blue blinking 24 hours a day. And I would really like to emphasize again that part of the building is actually on 0 Brookhaven Road, which is a residential street. So it's an issue at this point. We've brought it up with the zoning. We tried to block it because it didn't fit we felt it didn't fit the CN, which is a commercial neighborhood, I believe the term. And even in the application that the developer put in, he said the development would be properly, quote, buffered and screened from the neighborhood to the east, Brookhaven Road, unquote, as well as buffer screening is provided at the rear of the site into the neighborhood to the east. So I don't know what you guys can do about it, but I appreciate it if you could look into it, and I would also address it with the Planning and Zoning Commission. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Up next, Annette Eldridge.
Annette Eldridge, 35 Bear Swamp, Andover, Connecticut. I'm here as Executive Director of Community of Hope here in Groton at 120 Walker Hill Road. I'm here today to represent countless individuals and families that we serve every day. We're in the middle of an opioid crisis that continues to devastate our community. It's a crisis that demands bold solutions and inclusive ones. Yet year after year, we see the same agency receiving the opioid funding without an open or competitive process. Why is only one agency deemed eligible? Why isn't there room for collaboration, innovation, or new voices in this critical fight? Community of Hope is doing the work. We are on the front lines. We've been there since 2005, providing services, support, and real hope for people battling addiction and families walking beside them. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for fairness. We're asking for opportunity to show what we can do with even a portion of this funding. Transparency in how these dollars are allocated and spent is not just best practice. It's a moral obligation. This is public money intended to heal and restore, and the community deserves to know where it's going and the impact it's having. Imagine what could happen if just 1 year another agency like ours was given a chance. Imagine the lives we could save, the families we could support, the partnerships we could build. Let's open the door to accountability, equity, and collaboration. The opioid crisis is too big for one agency alone. Let Community of Hope and others doing this good work have a seat at the table. Please come to our home and see what we do there. It's not just a house for women. It is a full-service basic needs program, and we also do recovery coaching. I've got my information here if anybody would like
Thank
to.
you.
Can I hand this in?
Yes, you may. Thank you. Up next is Mary Ellen Furlong.
My name is Mary Ellen Furlong. I live at 57 Fishtown Lane in Mystic. I'm very sorry to be here again tonight. The majority of this council has just been listening to a lot of things that are wrong, a lot of things that are causing this town a lot of money. And this latest thing where we're basically being gagged, given 2 minutes a month to talk about the problems is absurd. I have not seen this done before by any of the other councils, and I also am witnessing this council not doing its job, not reviewing the budget the way they should. I really do not understand where this is going. This used to be a fairly reasonable council, and thank heavens we were able to deal with the Branford Manor, the oral school, and the data centers when we were actually allowed to talk. This has gotten absurd, and I begin to wonder whether the majority of the council has an attention span that can last 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, the Long Island audit.
Good evening. So obviously I don't have a lot of time to speak today. I just wanted to address the council. First of all, I wanted to say that there were some people came up here, the Democratic leader of the town of Groton, who I'm sure the mayor or some of your councilmen brought over here to say that, oh, what we're doing to you is unfair. The First Amendment guy, who was a former councilman, said, you know, I'm a big believer in the First Amendment. Then he goes on to talk about a First Amendment protected billboard truck. There's due process. This is not due process what's happening to me. You spoke about due process, Councilwoman. This is not, it's all on video for the world to see. Your police department violated my constitutional rights. They arrested me for felony voyeurism, criminal trespassing when I left, no signage, breach of the peace, which has to be in a public place. There is no elements to these crimes, and it's all on video. They did it to protect Brian Fahey, the man who spat in my face and brandished a firearm at me, friend of the mayor, who has a long history of talking to Brian's wife. And I will just say, because I don't have a lot of time, Mayor, before the Councilwoman Bordelon brought up that rule, I do my homework, and I already looked into that rule. And you are in violation of your own rules. You are violating my rights again. And then for people saying, oh, what are you doing talking to them? Talk to the police. I can't talk to the police. What are you doing talking to them? They're the ones that are violating our free speech by limiting us to 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 30 minutes total. It's ridiculous. And you're doing it unlawfully, and it's not viewpoint neutral. You did it to protect your friend. So I would like to enter into the record a lawsuit, Sean Paul Reyes versus Rachel Franco, for violating my constitutional rights. You can have your attorney look into it. Here you go, town manager. The one that you respect the police. There's a copy for each and every single councilwoman and councilman there with a demand letter and a lawsuit ready for filing. You have 30 days to respond. And I would just like to say, I hope that this isn't true, but I heard that there was
Your
an
time has
inappropriate
expired.
relationship between
Your
the
time has
town manager
expired.
and yourself. An inappropriate sexual relationship between the town manager and yourself. I heard that. I don't know if it's true, but I'm gonna look into it. You've
Your
been doing a
time
lot of
has
stuff with this.
expired.
Yeah, I think I.
Up next is the Garden State Accountability.
What's up, guys? I'm here today. Under the First Amendment, we have the right to address this council, not because I need anyone's permission, but we, the people, have the right to redress our grievances. That's exactly what I'm doing, and that's exactly what Sean Paul Reyes tried to do when he went to Sergeant Brian Fahey's house to ask him questions about overtime. Instead of answering those questions, Sergeant Fahey confronted Sean not once, not twice, but 3 different times. At no point was Sean the aggressor. He showed up with a billboard truck seeking transparency and insisted in dialogue. Sergeant Brian Fahey had a gun pointed at him and even spit on him. Now, I have to ask whose decision it was to charge him, because we waited a long time for him to get charged with disorderly conduct. And I want to address the false accusations about when you claimed when we spit on your chair, or you said Russ' chair, I forget whose chair it was. You said we spit on the chair. Did you guys review the cameras? Did we spit on your chair? Did we spit on the chair? So I drove 5.5 hours. I live near Atlantic City to get here because this stuff matters. And I hear there's rumors that you may resign under pressure. Is that true? Is it because you've lost the trust in the people? Leadership is not about lies or theatrics or false accusations. Leadership is about accountability. This community deserves better. Disorderly conduct is not enough. Sergeant Brian Fahey, his actions were unacceptable, and anyone who excuses them is complicit. And we, the people, will not be silent. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Up next is Leroy Truth.
Hello, Mayor Franco. First, I will ask you again publicly, on a scale of 1 to 10, How corrupt are you? This is your first time to be honest. Go. Time's up. Now, I can share passionately and eloquently the importance of freedom and all the things that you and the council, except for Councilwoman Bordelin, who is the hero of Groton, by the way. I love you. You're awesome. You hate to hear from we the people. That's why you got rid of 3 minutes of our time. The only person you love to hear from is you. So I am actually going to have you speak during my time. Go.
Not stop taking the floor when you don't have it.
Mayor Rachel Franco hasn't lied yet. Again, we're only 3 seconds into the video, so wait for it.
It's 6:42. We're taking a break because Councilor Bordelon will not remain in order, and do not speak at this time.
And
do not speak at
I
this
want
time.
you to appropriately
Do not
represent me.
speak during this time. So it is 6:43 now. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Yeah, it is perfect, isn't it?
Just represent me. People called about
I didn't
30
say
minutes.
your name.
You looked
And
directly
you need
at
to
me.
stop. You need to stop. Right now, you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to stop. Right now, you need to stop. You need to stop. Don't speak to me. Do not speak to me.
Please.
Do not speak to me. And you need to stop. You need to stop. Right now, you need to stop. Do not speak to me. Do not.
Who does she think she is? This is why I do what I do. To expose bully, coward, rude
That's
people
you.
like her who are in elected office.
Each presentation should be limited to 2 minutes. Council-
All right, so in my last 12 seconds, will you resign now and do the people of Groton what they need? And get rid of your cowardly, rude self, because how you treated Bordelin is so unacceptable. Again, you're the hero of Groton, Bordelin. God bless you.
Your
And keep
time
speaking
has
up truth
expired.
to this vile, corrupt,
Up
make-believe
next
mayor.
is, I'm not sure, I think it's SCAL 20 photo.
Yes, my name is Scalzo. My contact information is at scalzophoto.com. Let me just settle the clock here. One of the speakers earlier today mentioned profanity being used directed towards the council people. I just want to set the record straight. The first time profanity was used was actually the mayor's husband at the first meeting. Leroy Truth and Sean went to speak, have conversations with the council people, and the mayor's husband interfered, tried to block them, and when Leroy said, "Sir, please don't touch, you're in the way," the mayor's husband said something like, "You fucking move." So the F word, someone in the front mentioned profanity. The first profanity was used by the mayor's husband. I just want to put that on the record. And the Brian Fahey family are personal friends of the mayor. That is the reason why the time was shortened to 2 minutes, to stop people from criticizing the mayor's personal friends. Exactly. So I'm going to repeat that. The only reason why the time was limited was to stop people from criticizing the mayor's personal friends, the Brian Fahey family. And by the way, there's video of Brian Fahey's wife, personal friend of the mayor, giving the middle finger to people on the side of the street, as well as Brian Fahey's son. So there's talk of people using profanity. Most of it's on the side of Mayor Rachel Franco's personal friends. And we saw the temper tantrum that the mayor had. "I'm the mayor. I could talk as long as I want." Meanwhile, everyone else gets limited in their time. And it's just really just childish behavior. If you went to any other business and tried to speak to the managers and they ran away, I mean, they'd be fired. So, and the only reason why this border here is to stop people from having conversations with the council people, because most of them are pretty immature and they don't know how to have conversations. And
Thank you. Your time has expired. Up next is Lauren Gothier.
Lauren Gothier, 31 Boardson Road. I had come here tonight with the anticipation of speaking about the lack of transparency and unfairness in the distribution of opioid funding, specifically how there is no reason to be rushing it except for the fact that Mayor Franco wants to get this off of her list and done before she's no longer part of this council and to provide it again to a friend of hers. Community Speaks Out does great work, of course. However, as noted, there are plenty of other organizations, and there should be absolutely due process vetting in how this can best be distributed. There is nothing that needs to be done tonight without that process. However, I'm going to pivot because this pearl clutching is getting to me. This circus is solely all of your creation. This has been a mounting problem for the past 8 years in Groton, as this council, and Mayor Franco in specific, has been tightening down on the public's ability to participate in a variety of manners, from reducing the number of times a month we can speak at citizens petition, reducing the time, in addition to putting votes so far away from public's petition that you can't actually come out and speak when a topic is ripe and they've already had 2 or 3 votes, and Mayor Franco sits there and goes, well, we already voted on this, we're just confirming our other votes. I just feel continuously embarrassed by all of you, especially those who profess some kind of moral superiority as Democrats and then do not act democratically. You act like you have no power, and yet you sit by silently while this is happening and act like all of this is unreasonable. People are pissed because of your behaviors and your actions. I'm wondering when you as leaders will accept responsibility for that and do some introspection. You are embarrassing the town of Groton, you are wasting our time, and you are making some horrible decisions because you won't accept feedback.
Thank you. Your time has expired. All right, it is 7:06. It's been a half hour. We're going to move on to our consent calendar. Counselor, can we please have silence in the gallery, please? Up next is the consent calendar. Counselor Parker, would you like to take that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to accept the following: 2025-771, August 5th, 2025 minutes, and 2025-4-7, Special Trust Fund contribution for September. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Parker, second by Good. Counselor Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On page 13, for the surviving spouse tax exempt, you recused yourself, and I don't remember if it was Counselor Parker or myself who was voted in to chair for just that one resolution. We would have to review the video.
So you'd like a note for the pro tem?
Mm-hmm.
Is that your amendment to the minutes?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. On page 2 or 5, depending on how you read the packet, under receipt of citizens petitions, you know, there's some here that have one lines that don't state anything, and others that have like a paragraph. For example, Michael Boucher, it just gives his address and says concerns about seawall. What concerns? Could the concern be that he thought we spent too much money?
How would you like to
or
amend the minutes?
To reflect what he accordingly said at that time. So I'd like that to be reviewed. But there should be a bullet point of something, like what was his concern? Concern is not. And my reason is, if you go down to Ian Thomas, it says 24 Jefferson Drive, and he's a member of the Board of Education and the husband of Council Gordon, and he states that he wanted to correct the record concerning a complaint that was filed last year, goes into detail. There's also a detail for Lauren Gothier, 31 Gordon, goes into great detail, and then other people that have spoken on here, there's nothing. So it's not consistently.
So I have an amended motion for, you would like to add additional notes to Mr.
Correct.
Boucher's
And
comments.
anyone else's equally distributed against.
Do we have a second on that?
Point of information.
Your question?
May I ask what is required for the meeting minutes? I just don't know.
For minutes, what is required, from what I understand, is,
What happened is not a transcript, it's just what happened. What was the votes and what happened that day, it's not word for word.
Thank you.
is there a second on this amended motion? I don't see a second.
Okay, I still have another. So then my concern is then on there, looking at these, we have 1, 2, 3, we have 11 speakers. So if it's not required to put everything, then why do some have it and some don't? Again, I'm not taking favoritism on any of them. I ask for equal and fair representation. So Sean Paul Reyes says, shared concerns about being arrested by Groton Town Police. That's all he got. Speaker 2 spoke about support for Sean Reyes, names not given. Number 3, Lauren Gauthier goes into great detail, property developer agenda, states that she lives at Pleasant Valley Road, appropriate spot for District 4 to receive recreation facilities. She gave examples of areas that places that are zoned for housing. She asked for the council not to vote for the developer on her agenda. Number 2 speaker, Michael Boucher, number 10, 16 Hillside Ave, shared concerns about the seawall project. Much different than Gauthier's. Ian Thomas goes on and again is much different. Ian says, 24 Jefferson Drive, that he is a member of the Board of Education, the husband of Councilor Bordelon, and he states that he wanted to correct the record concerning the complaint that was filed last year. He stated that he will be submitting the findings of that complaint to the permanent record for this meeting. So if the rule is to only, why is it, I agree with Councilor Rusk, what I ask, and I didn't get a second, is they're not equal and fair. So either we limit it, which I don't agree with, because we have to keep in mind that these minutes are permanent record, and not everyone has access to TV. Some people are hearing impaired, and some people read the minutes. I have some of our constituents that have said to me, they can't watch the meetings, the closed caption misses things, they read these. So it is important to know why someone was there. I just asked for this, but if I don't have the support, I guess I don't have the support to correct it. But it's not fair across the board.
Clerk Melendez, do you have a response?
I mean, all I can say is then going forward, we just put people's names and just one sentence or something. I don't think that Gauthier has everything. Right, we're following the Connecticut General Statute. I mean, I don't think that for Lauren Gauthier or Ian Thomas, it was word for word or everything they said. It was just a bullet. That's what it was. That was the main thing.
So then how come everyone else didn't get a bullet?
Profanity
wasn't going to be entered in there.
I mean, I think Michael Boucher comes here all the time to talk about the seawall. What is his concern with the seawall? If I just moved here tomorrow and I read these minutes, what is his concern? Do we know?
It's not a transcript, and that's why it says to watch the video.
Again, it's just not fair. That's all I'm saying. There is more detail in one and not in the other. So Michael Boucher deserves the same paragraph that Ian Thomas got, as well as Lauren Gauthier. And a simple bullet point of saying he's concerned about the whatever his complaint was, and it's not here. So I don't understand. But if I don't have the support of the council to amend that, that's the will of the people here. But I think that we need to keep in mind that ADA compliance, that these are also permanent records, and there are people who don't have the time to watch video in its entirety. That becomes a full-time job. These bullet points, when our community once a month for 2 minutes now come to speak, we should be putting at least a bullet point of what they were coming to speak about, not just their name and their address. That means nothing. They didn't waste their time once a month to come out here to just be represented Michael Boucher and his address about the seawall.
Well, it does say it was his concern. It just didn't state what was his concern.
What is his
But it's
concern?
not just his name and his address.
Correct, and that's the thing, is that no one knows what the concern is.
Okay.
And I agree with you that it's not a transcript, but
Point
then
of
why
order.
are others
Your point of
more
order?
elaborated on? That's all I'm asking.
This was supposed to be a question, and it's not a question, it's now turned into a conversation or a debate.
I agree. Thank you.
So also in these minutes, moving on, under the opioid settlement, there's nothing here to talk about the fact that people brought up other names.
What page are you on?
Page 15. I mean, again, I can respect the fact it's not a transcript, and just like I said in the other thing, some had more detail and others had nothing. I think it's vital, again, not everyone's gonna watch the video. And to make people go to video only, people don't have time.
This
Working.
is just,
Let
this
me
is
just
just
finish.
recording
Let
the
me just
vote.
finish, please. Is the fact that it doesn't say that any counselors proposed other people. People wrote in, we had tons of letters from other outside agencies, and it's almost as if it never happened. Do we have those attached to the record for the minutes as well, is my other question?
Those would be in the cow minutes.
I just want asking in general.
This is the town council.
So they will be attached, because there should be something then to state that many letters were sent in, one paragraph, right, a bullet point, not a, just stating that many other outside agencies had submitted stuff. So again, it's just, there's a lot of things on here that, and again, I'm not gonna get the vote up here, obviously, so I'm just speaking to speak, but no one will even second a motion if I tried to make an amendment, so, but I just, again, I can appreciate the minutes, I appreciate the hard work that you guys do, but to say the video is the only avenue is, it's just not fair to the community. Not everyone has the time to watch a video all day. These are minutes. When taking minutes in any formal meeting, the bullet point should reflect the meaning of what it was, that's all. So, thank you. And
Councilor Rusk.
May I just correct something? No disrespect, Councilor Bordelon, but this was accepting the opioid money. This wasn't the distribution of opioid money.
right, so again, at that time, we had asked about
Councilor Rusk,
plan.
you should not make
You're right.
comments
I'm sorry.
directly towards other councilors. You should-
My
Yeah.
apologies, Madam
you
Mayor.
have-
Just something that people wanted to
Thank you, Councilor
process,
Bordelon.
and that wasn't added. Thank you. But I appreciate your comment.
Are there any other? All right, so we're going to take a vote on the minutes with the amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? All right, that passes 7 to 1 to 0, and we're going to pass it all together with the amendment. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Passes 7 to 1 to 0. Bordelon? Opposed. All right, up next is communications and reports, other than committee reports. Up first is town councilors. Councilor Merritt, do you have anything you would like to share this evening?
Not at this time.
Councilor Bordelon?
Thank you. I just want to apologize that I was not here at the last meeting. I was moving my son into college, and so I tried to find the quietest place I could to Zoom in. With that, I just want to thank all the folks from all the different agencies. Annette as well is one of the ones I had reached out to from Community of Hope.
Excuse me for just one moment. Councilor Parker, can you do the time this evening?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Councilor Bordelon.
Are we ready? I just want to make sure we're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay. Again, just want to thank everyone for coming out. Again, I just want to speak openly that I'm in full support of an open, transparent process for opioid, cannabis funds, and nip bottle monies in our town. We did speak about this last year, and it was said, yep, when it comes around, we'll, propose a possible opportunity for counselors to be able to submit their thoughts or process. Thursday, the agenda comes out. It's made by the mayor and the town manager. We usually see it Thursday night. We all work till Friday. We're not, as it was stated by Mr. Delacruz, we're not paid, and saw it Friday. Tuesday's our meeting. That doesn't allow anybody to come or an opportunity. It was already put on the agenda. There was no email prior to say, hey, counselors, by the way, agenda items coming, please submit your requests so that we can move this along. I cannot support giving money to just one agency. I respect all the agencies that are out there. I respect the agency that's being recommended. Councilor Good stated, 100% to Community Speaks Out. When you look at addiction, it is a systemic issue, and funding needs to be distributed evenly. Community of Hope, and I've known people who have gone through that program there. If Community Speaks Out has a person who needs a bed, who do you think they're calling? Community Speaks Out does not have a detox facility. Community Speaks Out does not have beds. They reach out to the sister agencies to help people get that. They do other great things by getting them clothing and food and shelter temporarily, and they are a liaison too, but they're not the only source. And so I feel it is so vital that we make that money, it's money
Point
that
of
we
order.
are benefiting from.
Point of order.
Are we discussing communications, or are we debating an agenda item at this point?
This is where councilors have the right to speak, and they can speak on numerous topics as they choose.
Thank you.
So I feel very passionate about it, and as a person who, is a client advocate myself, one of the reasons I got involved was to make sure people who are underserved in our community have a voice, and that's why I got involved. With that, I think there's a process forward. I think there's a way to distribute this money fairly and equitably in a way that allows people to apply. There's a group called Recovery Groton. Community Speaks Out's a part of that. They're meeting in our town buildings, and they've been meeting. We knew the names of the agencies. I sent them to the town manager. We have a human resource department that knows those agencies when people are in need of housing, shelter, water, food, and support. Why have we not aggressively reached out to all of them? We could have done that internally. It was stated it's not the town's responsibility, it's the councilor's responsibility to bring it forward. I have a full-time job, we have paid staff, and we rely on them to reach out in that capacity. So tonight, I will not be supporting what's on here. It has nothing to do, and I'll repeat because it will be used in a way that I support overwhelmingly outside agencies through and through, but I cannot support giving money all to one source. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pacino. Please have quiet in the gallery, please.
Thank you,
Councilor
Madam Mayor. I
Pacino.
have nothing to pass at this moment.
Thank you, Councilor Ross. No report. Councilor Jones.
No report.
Councilor Good.
Yes, this past weekend was the Nutmeg Junior Volunteers Fife and Drum at Fort Griswold. It was attended by over 100 people. The kids did a great job. Many other muster groups from around the state came and performed also. And I just want to send out my appreciation to Terry Lamb, the director of the Fife and Drum Corps, for putting this on every year, free for all of the town and citizens to enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Parker.
No report.
I also have no report. Up next, Clerk of the Council.
No report.
Clerk of the Representative Town Meeting.
The next meeting is next Wednesday, September 10th at 7 p.m. at 555. And for vacancies, District 1 has a Democratic seat, District 3 has 1 Republican seat, and District 4 has 2 minorities and 1 Democratic seat. And that's it for vacancies. Nothing else to report.
Councilor Bordelon.
Through the mayor to the town clerk, can you just give us any update? We do have a primary that started today, is that correct?
The town of Groton does not have a primary.
Or I meant to say the state does, but the town of Groton does not. I apologize, I mixed my wording up. So that would be good to state on the record if we could. Also that we do have early voting. Can we talk about the upcoming election? Do you have any of those early voting dates that you maybe can disperse to the community and let them know when those dates are, when those open, what sites they're going to be using, and what day's election?
Election is November 4th. Early voting is October 20th through November 2nd. Early voting will be at the Voter Register Office, 61 Fort Hill Road in Groton. And what else did you need?
The times that those stations are open.
I will check on that because I don't have it here right now.
And will that, I guess, through the mayor to the town manager or the clerk, will those early voting dates, times, and locations be posted on social media and all that for the folks to access?
Yes, it's done by the clerk's office, though.
So you guys will be posting it? Okay, thank you.
All right, Town Manager, Mr. Burke.
Good evening. First, just to mention the Soapy Noble, the lights complaint. I did run out and talk briefly with the people that live along there. The first night, there were some color flashing lights. Deb Jones reached out to the owner, and he turned those off. But then interior bright lights were left on the next night, and they were cartoonishly bright. It was crazy. Deb Jones reached out to the owner again. I reached out. I heard back from him first where he said he'd put it on a dimmest setting. Now, she had indicated she's heard that he's just going to turn them off. I have not seen that in writing, so we're waiting for that in writing. So hopefully we're getting past that, but we'll see. So, but I did update the gentleman that joined us before he left. Just a couple of comments. Mr. Goodrich made comments about 300 emails. He's not incorrect that Goodman said that. I pulled all the emails through IT right after that was said. There's 197, and it's one of those things where like 30 are on the same topic of fencing and HDC. It's innocuous stuff. And then just while I'm sitting here, I just pulled some legal fees for Mr. Goodrich, and I pulled up 3 right away that totaled over 15,000, so that was inaccurate. Let's see, District 4, I am working with Dean Antipas on the Board of Ed for the Mary Morrison back park playground. He did send me a draft week and a half ago of a MOU. I made comments and have sent it back, so I'm waiting to hear back from him again. I'm also waiting to hear, I had met with, Mark Berry and I had met with, I always want to call it Odd Fellows. Yeah, they are looking at potential options of letting us do something there for a park playground. And then as well as I met with, Mark and I met with Balfour Beatty, and they're talking about it too. So of using existing playgrounds potentially. So more to follow on that. We did submit the paperwork to opt into Opioid Settlement 2, so there'll be more funds later once that gets going. Quaker Farm Road Bridge bid opening, that's been a long time coming, is September 25th. I'm really eager to see. I do think we had a lot of interest in the project, but that doesn't always mean much. I'm very interested to see the bid amount. So obviously, as soon as I hear, I'll report to the council. Because as we saw, Sutton Park came in very high. There's going to be a meeting on September 9th with our architect, Mark Berry, Greg Hanover, to talk about the costs and what they can do to get the cost down. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you. All right. Up next is committee, I'm sorry, you have a question?
Yeah, through the mayor to the town manager. Could you just speak? I know I had brought up a question because I got a call from a local citizen who said all of a sudden just names and their party's affiliation was up online and everything else was wiped. And then I had reached out to the town manager and I said, where did my name, address, and contact go? And you said, a few counselors reached out to you, so you took everybody down, and that you were going to look into it. And I said, in the meantime, while you were looking into it, to keep my information up, because I didn't get permission for it to be removed. So I guess what finding did you find, I guess, to, what should be up there?
Right now, it's up to each individual counselor what they want up there. I did reach out to Blair Russell. I'd already previously spoke with our attorney, but I also reached out to the FOIA Commission. They said there's no requirement to post contact information for counselors on the website. So there's no FOIA violation or anything. So each counselor will let me know if what contact info they want on the website.
So, and then my question is, it's a town-issued email, so not even a town, I could see not a personal email or personal phone number perhaps, but our town-issued email is also not required to put up there?
It is not.
Okay.
Though it's good for the public to know we have the email that we publicize, the council@groton-ct.gov. If you send an email to that, if you don't specify, it'll go to the full council. If you say you want a particular counselor, it will go to that counselor.
So I just had a question because I did a search of my name and everyone's stuff is still up there. It's still searchable, even though it's not currently on the page because it's been posted. It's one of the things, once you put it on social media, it doesn't leave. So it's not that it's not searchable still. So I don't know, I just was a little concerned. And then I had a question through the mayor, through the town manager. If we require people, or we did at one point require people at the podium to say their name and address for the record and where they're from, but we're not providing our own, I don't know. I just don't understand. So is that, you know what I mean? Like many times counselors will say, point of order, the person didn't state their name and address for the record. So are we required to make our communities state their name and address, or is that not required either?
You can ask. My understanding is that it can't be required, but that is not fully settled in the law, but my recommendation is to not require it.
Not required, okay. I just want to make sure because in past we've made people, so if we're not required to put ours up, then I think it should just be equitable across the board. My other question is there any updates on the seawall?
No, I have not heard from the mayor recently on that or anything with the grant.
And how about any of the properties like Colonel Ledgerd or any of the other things? Is there any updates on any of those?
Not since the one I gave a few weeks ago. I know Director Reiner was hoping to get an update soon. I'll pass it along as soon as I get anything.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Burt, has the city asked the town for any money for the seawall, or is this just the city is asking us to help facilitate a
The city has not
grant?
officially asked for anything. Back channel, I was asked about it. I'm of the opinion that it's great.
I'm asking, are we just facilitating a grant request at this time? I
Yeah,
mean, we're
we've
not
submitted
being
a grant.
asked.
Yeah, the city was not eligible for the Community Infrastructure Fund grant. And so we submitted on their behalf.
So at this time, they have not asked the town for any funding?
The council has not, no, nothing official.
Thank you.
Point of information?
Your question?
Would it, if through the mayor to the town manager, what did you mean by back channel?
All along, there's been talk about, just like, about whether we'd be willing to put anything, it's entirely a council decision, but personally, I'd want a lot of information also before I would support any town funding.
Yeah, it would be great if we could have a meeting with the city. We have yet to have one to kind of go over, I mean, anything, like since the incident, it's never been brought back to the council ever. It'd be nice to have a chance to, even
They
if it's an
haven't
executive.
requested anything from us.
Yeah, if it, well, we can request, right? We
You
can
can
have an
put in a
executive
referral
session or.
request.
It's a city issue at this moment. It's not a town issue at this time. Is that correct?
True. I mean, if the council of the body voted to, or consensus to invite them, I certainly would, but it'd be up to the full council.
I guess point of information.
Your question?
So we have no liability at all then on the town side, money-wise or anything? We aren't
I'm not going to
required
talk legalities.
At this time, they haven't asked us for any money.
Right, but why do we have to, I guess my question is, I want to be like proactive versus reactive. So we know there's a problem with the seawall. Everybody knows it, it's in the news.
We can't get into the debate on this.
I'm not asking for a debate. I'm
But
asking
you're
a question.
going in-
No,
that's
I'm-
not a question.
I'm asking a question. Why wouldn't we want to bring them to the table to ask the questions?
You should put in a referral.
Sure, I'll do that. So that's the verbal referral. I'll send it out so that we can go over it, even if it has to be executive session. But there should be some discussions. There has to be.
Okay, committee, anybody else have questions for the town manager? All right, up next is committee reports. Committee of the Whole, Mayor Franco. I don't have anything at this time. Personnel and appointments, Chair Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We met on Tuesday, August 19th, and we will be going over the recommendations under new business.
Thank you, Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. Were there any other applicants other than the ones that are on the list for tonight?
Nope.
So everyone that put their name forward is moving forward?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, rules, Councilor Parker.
No meeting, no report.
Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. I'd like to request a rule referral regarding the receipt of citizens petition. So I'd have to send out an email and then get another counselor to agree to it. Is that the process?
That is the process.
And I guess
Send it to the town manager and he will
Perfect.
send it.
Just two counselors have to
Yes,
support.
two counselors.
Two counselors agree, okay. And then through the mayor to the chair of the Rules Committee, do you have any thoughts on these rules as far as, like, since you enact the rules and you run the Rules Committee, is there any thoughts on, like, ways that we can, I don't know, just with all the discussion about the times restraints and all of that?
Madam Mayor, may I?
You may.
Once your referral comes through, if it is accepted by two others, we can discuss it then. Until then, I'm going to leave it as is, until it comes through.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
May I add to that?
You may.
This would be potentially an agenda item, and we cannot discuss beforehand.
Correct, thank you. Up next, Public Safety, Chair Rusk.
No meeting, no report.
Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. Again, it's nothing I particularly can do since I don't making the rules, but is any of the issues or concerns that are being addressed about, incidents and comments that have been made, or is that being referred to our safety committee at all? About process at all? Has that been discussed? The reason I ask is, at one point, there was talk about having a committee where people had an open dialogue and forum to talk about concerns that happen, right? Nobody's perfect in this world, and we should have an open dialogue. People were looking for a committee where if you have community policing concerns or whatever.
That is not what our Public Safety Committee is making.
That's what I'm just asking, so it's not, we don't have that platform in the public safety.
Not on.
Okay, just wanted
Chair-
to check.
not-
Someone asked me, so I.
Not the platform that Chair Rusk is chair of. That is for referrals that come from this council.
Right,
Point
I
of
just wanted to
information?
see if there was anything. Thank you.
Your question?
Wouldn't that be the court group?
There, except for there's not, you could send emails for suggested topics to the chair, but it's not like it's a free-for-all for discussions.
All right, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on to new business. First item on the agenda is 2025-753-1, various appointments and reappointments. This is on page 18 of our packet. Counselor Jones, would you like to take that?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 2025-753, various appointments and reappointments. Resolution making the following appointments, reappointments to authorized agencies, authorities, boards, commissions, and committees, ABCs. Resolved that the Town Council appoints the following individuals to the authorized ABCs as noted. Reappointment, Karen Hatcher to the Groton Housing Authority. Reappointment, alternate, Thomas Weeks to the Harbor Management Commission. Appointment full, Brian Kent to the Complete Streets Advisory Committee. And appointment full, Patricia Granatowski to the Complete Streets Advisory Committee. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jones, seconded by Good.
Point of information,
Your question?
or I'll just take it my turn. I believe that at least Patricia Granatowski is a reappointment, and Brian Kent maybe as well.
Yes, they're reappointments.
Okay, thank you.
Town Clerk, you have noted that?
That's correct.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, seeing no hands, we're going to take a vote on 2025-573-1, various appointments and reappointments. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 8-0 to 0. Up next, 2025-688-1, miniature liquor bottle surcharge revenue use. This is on page 19 of our packet. Counselor Good, would you like to take that one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolution approving the use of funds collected from a surcharge on miniature liquor bottles, item number 2025-688.
You only have to read the resolves.
Oh, okay. I move that the town council authorizes $72,000 for public works for the purchase of solar trash compactors, $8,383 for parks and recreation for the purchase of solar trash compactors, and to provide $14,185 to the city of Groton, and be it further resolved to forward the funding request to the representative town meeting per RTM Rule 6.5.3.
Second, Parker.
Moved by Good, seconded by Parker. Counselor Bordelon.
Thanks. I think this is a great opportunity to be able to use the funds, and, I think the solar trash compactors in downtown Mystic have been a great asset. It was something that I had brought up a while back, and, it didn't get the votes initially, and then down the road, many months later, it came back around. So I'm thankful for that and the support of the council to be able to move that forward. I'm excited to see what this will do through the mayor to the town manager. So this money here would complete the solar compactors that people have requested from our town agency side?
For downtown Mystic, not for the parks. We'll have Parks and Rec come back. Once the money is built up a little bit more, we'll come back with Parks and Rec to discuss their needs.
So this would
This will
complete-
wrap up downtown Mystic.
So this
And
will
then
wrap
they
up-
can all be networked together.
Perfect. This will wrap up Mystic, but Parks and Rec still have some more areas that they've
Yes.
identified. Okay. And there was also talk that maybe extending the trash compactors further down the side street. People have been requested, and I know Mr. Hanover said that there might be some talk later possibly, so I'd like to
Yeah,
keep
when we
that
have
on.
more money, we could talk about it, yeah.
I think this is great. As a person who grew up in High Street on Mystic, and I've watched the town grow, and as we grow economically in development, we also have to protect our assets. And I have some friends down there on Pearl Street and many of the other side roads. As we increase all these wonderful high-end restaurants, the amount of rats that are coming through the town, and mice and other things that we're not as prevalent there have increased. And there's a lot of older structures, older historic buildings that they're finding their way in down there. Many people are talking about the concern. So I think having proper disposal, currently we have these just painted on little tin things that have been there since, I don't know, maybe since I was a kid even, with little tops on them that pop off. People are throwing trash, wherever. So it's great to have such a booming economic, but it does have a cost to the town. This may help with some of that because, the trash solar ones are more compact, it's harder to get into, it's tighter sealed. But I think this is gonna stem, and my thoughts would be a look at larger solar compactors for the businesses down the road. So I think this is a start because I think there's no regulation on how the food is being stored in the dumpsters, and they're all open out in the back, and there's houses that are less than, a couple feet away. But anyway, this is a great start. I'll send a referral for that. Other towns, had to look at that, and maybe this NIP money can be used down the road to help support that initiative at looking at proper ways that businesses have better covered, tightly sealed compactors to prevent the attraction of the rats, the rodents, and the vermin down there from, kind of coming in that area. So excited for this, something that I supported. I think it's a green initiative, and I look forward to seeing other ways, I guess through the mayor, through the town manager, if we wanted to look for advertising on these or artwork, how would that have to look? How could we seek to look at that and look at some of our neighboring towns that already have that?
Do they have them on these type of?
Correct.
I'd
New
have
London
to
has
see it.
them.
If you see it, take photo for
New
me,
London
and I'll
has them.
show it to Greg, and I
He
can
was
start
aware
with
of them. I
him.
just didn't know how we look into that. Should I make a referral for that?
If you send it to me, I can.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
All right, seeing no other hands, we're going to take a vote on 2025-688-1, a miniature liquor bottle surcharge revenue use. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that passes 8-0. And just to remind the people at home, these are all items that we have had full debate and discussion during our committee of the whole meetings. This is the portion at our town council meeting where we pass them in full.
Point of information?
Up next is 2025, your question?
I just want to be clear, but if you want to bring up anything, you can still discuss whatever you feel at this time. It's still a chance. It's not permanent. This is the permanent vote. And if you have new information, you can bring that forward at that time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to be clear. Okay, thank you.
I just want to explain to the people at home, so if they don't see other people debating or having discussion, it's because we've already had that debate and discussion at a previous COW meeting. And we are finalizing the vote here. 2025-681-2, solar array revenue usage resolution. This is on page 20. Councilor Rusk, would you like to take that one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 2025-681, solar array revenue usage. Resolution to place transfer station solar lease revenues into the general fund. Resolved that the funds received from the transfer station solar lease, currently estimated at $228,000 annually, be placed in the town's general fund.
Second.
Moved by Rusk, seconded by Jones. Councilor Bordelon.
Again, this was something, I think it's a great opportunity. I see it in Montville where my father-in-law lives, and I think, it's land that we cannot use, and having this on there is a great initiative. It brings in some positive revenue to our town. One of the things I had asked in the town manager, I thank you for submitting that forward. It wasn't a lot that was going to change, but he was going to look into language to maybe add it to God, I can't think of the word right now. I apologize. When we vote on the bottom for the athletic fields with the bonding and to see if it would help or enhance the bonding. I guess my thought was this, and my thought behind that is a lot of people in the community are like, we need new fields, and we should have did it over 25 years ago. So up here, we just inherited the problem that just has been kicked down the road for many years. It's not been a town investment to enhance our sports fields, especially at our high school. In our current New London County and surrounding schools, we have the
Councilor
worst.
Bordelon, the topic on the floor is the transfer
Sure.
solar lease revenues.
Yes, we have the worst fields, and I thought this funding being kind of showing the community that this 200, and it's not a lot, would be going towards that as an initiative, as new revenue coming in, because when I'm trying to sell this to the community, to hope that they'll support that referendum, it was a thought that here's some money that we weren't expecting coming in. I didn't get the will of the council to do that, so we're just moving this forward. Hopefully, in the general fund, when we're looking at the budget down the road, that the council up here remembers that this money came in, and when the athletic fields need enhancement, that you'll kindly consider that. But again, I think this is a great start, and I'm excited for the opportunity for Groton. Thank you.
Councilor Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At one point, we tried to, I think that's what Council Borderline may have been alluding to, tried to earmark these funds for another project. And although not earmarked for that other project, the bonding, this fund will indeed help offset that bonding and will be available and for reducing the taxpayers' financial burden on that bonding. So I'm all in favor of this, and we will still be helping the taxpayer and still be getting that other bonding. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other hands, we're going to take a vote on 2025-681-2 solar array revenue usage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0 to 0. Up next, athletic field bond referendum date and question resolution. This is on page 21. And do you, Mr. Burt, do you think that the whole resolution should be read?
It should be, yes. Sorry.
Councilor Pacino, would you like to take that, or would you like me to read it?
The ball fields are your baby.
All right, I'll take it. 2025-761 athletic field bond referendum date time question. Resolution of town council setting referendum date and approving the form of the question concerning proposed bond ordinance. Whereas the town council and the representative town meeting have approved an ordinance entitled Ordinance Appropriating $14,380,000 for the design and the construction of Groton athletic fields, consisting of athletic field improvements primarily at the Fitch High School. And if funds are remaining from said appropriation, allow such funds to be used at Sutton Park, Groton Middle School, and the former Claude Chester Elementary School, and authorizing the issue of bonds and notes in the same amount to finance said appropriation. Now therefore be resolved that the ordinance be submitted for approval or rejection at the referendum to be held November 4th, 2025, in conjunction with the election to be held on that date. Voters approving the ordinance will vote yes, and those opposing the ordinance will vote no. And be it further resolved that the question to be placed on the voting machines shall be worded as follows. Shall the ordinance appropriating $14,380,000 and authorizing bonds and notes in the same amount for the design and construction of the Groton athletic fields, consisting of athletic field improvements primarily at Fitch High School, and if funds are remaining from said appropriation, allow such funds to be used at Sutton Park, Groton Middle School, and the former Claude Chester Elementary School, be approved. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to issue any and all warnings, publish all such notices, and file all such statements and reports concerning said referendum as provided by law, and to authorize the town clerk to prepare a concise, explanatory text regarding said ordinance, and the town manager is authorized to prepare additional explanatory materials regarding said ordinance, such text and explanatory materials to be subject to the approval of the town attorney and to be prepared and distributed in accordance with section 9-369B of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Second.
Moved by Franco, seconded by Good. Councilor Borderline.
Thank you. As I stated before, I was involved in the Athletic Fields Task Force. It was organically a bunch of citizens that were non-elected officials that wanted to get together, that said, we need change in Groton, we need to update our fields. I graduated from Fitch in '98. Nothing has been updated since I graduated in '98. I've since then graduated two of my own sons. from that same school, and it's the same field. Actually, the long jump pit is the same long jump pit I used to run on. When the track field got resurfaced, that never got resurfaced. The field, we can debate the turf or the grass. Let's just update it in general. Like, it's so outdated, it needs to be capped. The facilities, I'm very open, as you know, as I'm a stage 3 breast cancer survivor. I would be there at track meets, marching band events, and I could not use the bathrooms there. They were deplorable. At one point, I had to ask for locks to be placed on them. There was no sanitary trash cans in the individual stalls, and ABA compliance. You know, we'd go off to other schools for marching band, and families could kind of approach from the top of the bleachers and wheelchairs. They could sit in the stands for graduation with their families. Ours is not up to ABA code. We still have the gaps, the old school gaps where they used to make us, which is crazy, run up and down them to exercise for sports. And if you trip just one way, you could go right under. Now they put the extra bleacher where you kind of almost block it off. We can do better in Groton. We overwhelmingly support all of our other outside resources, from thanks to the police department that's here, from them to all the many other agencies that we have. We have an obligation. If we're going to have a high school here and support children, we need to support the fields. As we talk about opioid funds and settlements and things and deterrents, having a robust athletic facility, I know for a fact, is a deterrent for people that are involved or engaging in these types of things like opioids and drugs and addiction. Why? Because you want to perform at top level, and so these kids usually are stirred away from that by having things to be involved in, especially if they're not having those type of good encounters at home. It gives them a place of belonging and acceptance. We at Groton have dropped the ball and have sat for so long saying, not my taxpayer dollars, not my money, and keep cutting and kicking the can. And our Fitch High School fields, I'm not saying I don't support the other fields, but at minimum our high school, we do not look like Stonington. We do not look like East Lyme. We do not look like New London. Norwich Tech, Rosso Tech down the road here, and many other schools in our even own ECC. When you go outside of here, it just gets even more robust. I've been to some amazing marching band competitions with some amazing fields that I'm just like blown away with. And I'm always got embarrassed when people would come to our field. So we have a chance here to do something. But I want to be clear that this is just, and I can't speak for Councilor McBride, but myself, and I know one other up here had stated, we wanted the whole thing to be passed by the council, that we were going to do all of it. And I'll take my next turn at the end.
Councilor Bordelon.
Just want to be clear that this is a Band-Aid on something, but it's something I'm going to support because it's better than what we have, which has been nothing. We had an obligation as a council to vote entirely and say, the 9 councilors up here support our youth, and we have opioid money. We have all this other money too that we could have used a portion for that, and some of it, some of the, I don't have the things in front of me, but some of that money could have been used for this. We have an obligation as a council to say that we mean business when it comes to this, and we vote up here that we wanted the whole thing to go. And we could have sent that all to the taxpayers on a referendum. Unfortunately, we didn't have the support up here, and we have this vote here, which does a piece of the high school. I guess through the mayor, through the town manager, can you just explain what pieces of the high school will not be considered complete if this referendum, what will still be outstanding?
If this went through, but further ones were not?
If this goes through, what's still not being addressed at the high school?
I don't have it right in front of me. I don't like to speak off the cuff on that. I mean, there's others that are just.
But there's missing pieces. This is not a complete.
Yeah, there'll be other pieces, right?
Correct.
I consider this the most critical, but yes.
Right. And again, that's why I'm going to support it. But again, we had a chance to say, let's do this. We had all this money coming in, the array money, we have the solar array, we have the opioid money. We could have made this problem and closed it. This council could have done that. And that was my hope. That was my vote. And then again, sending it to the referendum still, but saying, let's do the whole project, not a piece. Because my concern is now, each piece now has to still come back to the council and want to move it to a referendum. It doesn't make it automatic. But again, this is something, and I'm going to move forward with it. Again, as I stated, ABA compliance. We don't have fair and equal access. We also don't have gender equality there. Women don't have the proper facilities equal to their male counterparts, and especially with a lot of different gender identities now, it's even more important to have that exclusivity and availability to folks. So again, this is a small Band-Aid on the project, but it will help the bathrooms and, from my understanding, in the ABA and the bleachers at minimum. our concession stand, our field house. I mean, there's so many pieces, a secondary field. So I hope the community supports this and it moves forward. I wish it was more, is all I'm going to say. You know, at the end of the day, I have to defend this vote, and I'm defending it in the sense that I feel as a counselor, this was all that I could get to go through, so that's what I'm supporting, but I feel like it should have been more robust. I'm hoping in later counselors that we will look at this, and at any point we can make a vote and try to seal the deal and send it to the referendum. We don't have to wait till next year. We can start talking about that now. So again, let's get this done. Let's get this moving. It's way overdue. And again, I just want the community to know this is not going to fix all of the problems at Fitch. Thank you.
All right, well, I will take my turn. I have always been a big advocate for athletic fields in Groton, and actually an advocate for, you know, our parks as well as our athletic fields. This is a phase one approach out of 4 phases, which is $14 million, which is nothing to, you know, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for Groton. But I think doing it in phases is a very affordable way for our community. And we have heard from many people in our community, and I have over the years, that the bleachers, the field, concession stand with the restrooms are in dire need. And this is the priority, I think, of the athletic fields to start there. It will be up to our community to see if they want to do this, if they agree with it. And we will hear what our community has to say. So I will vote very happily in favor of this motion on the floor.
Point of information.
Your question?
So we, as a council, voted in phase 1, but the other 3 phases we have yet to vote on yet, though, as a council, so they're not approved yet. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm clear. Okay, thank you.
All right, we're going to take a vote on 2025-761-1, athletic field bond referendum date in question. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? That passes 7 to 1 to 0 with Parker opposed. Up next, 2025-687-2, cannabis tax revenue use. This is on page 23 of our packet. Counselor Pacino, would you like to take this one?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 2025-687, cannabis tax use resolution. Do I need to read, am I reading the whole thing, or can I just read the
Just
resolve?
start with the resolved.
Just the resolve. Be it resolved that the town of Groton authorizes the town manager to utilize cannabis funds to help offset taxpayer costs for funding service agencies as part of the annual budget process, or give annual one-time increases for special items and issues.
Second.
Pacino, seconded by Jones. I think there are a few words that we have correct in there. I believe,
Madam
Yes.
Mayor, are you taking a turn?
yeah, in the last sentence, after the comma is at, or also give annual one-time increases.
Did I not read that?
You
Right.
left out the word also.
Oh, I apologize.
So I would just like to amend with the word or also.
Second.
Okay. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. I think it is impertinent, you know, again, up here it says, you know, it can be used for streetscapes, improvements of other neighborhood developments, community, cannabis retailers or hybrid retailers, micro cultivators, where they're located, education programs for youth employment and training, programs for municipalities, services for individuals living in municipality who have been released from the DOC custody, mental health or addiction, Youth Service Bureau, Municipal Juvenile Review Boards, community civic engagement efforts. So there's a lot of broad things. Again, I'm not in support of the vote of how this is all going as well. We every year fund outside agencies under our budget, and so to do this to offset taxes versus to enhance, to me, doesn't do this, the community any, it does them a disservice, in my opinion. Why? We've already been funding them at a certain tax level, and many other outside agencies are gonna come with 20, 30% increases sometimes, tons of other raises. And to take this and just say, we're gonna use that money to cover what we normally would pay them and not enhance, and maybe with a little bit of leftover, we'll give somebody a little, it's also not defined here. Are we gonna run into the same problem with the other thing? What's that application process gonna look like? How will they have access to those funds? What enhancement and how? That has not been defined, but yet we haven't opened up that floor and to allow for that conversation to happen. So to me, I'd like to see this to be not to offset the taxes. We have an obligation. I say this over and over. We are a town of Groton. We're not New London. We're not Norwich. We're not other places. If one of our community members, anybody, as we talked about, everyone's having a hardship, become homeless or hungry tonight, where do they go? New London. It's already been said. Friends tell me all the time, they see, Stonington people being transported from Stonington to London to be dropped off. That's where they go. There is no shelter in Groton. So we have an obligation to our residents, our children, our friends, our teachers, our community, to make sure we are funding our outside resources at the best capacity that we can. The outside resources line is less than 2% of the total town budget. And I might have my number wrong, John. If you know the total percent of the total town budget, please let me know. It's less than 2%. To say that we're going to use that to offset taxes, to me, just goes right there. It just hits me hard, because when all those other outside agencies come up, I hope that everyone looks at it the same way and says, maybe we won't give this department 20% increase or another 15 or this. If we don't care about I'm not saying you don't care, but we have to show as a community that we care about everybody. And funding our outside resources is vital. And I'll wait for my next turn.
Councilor Rusk.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. I think this is the best way that we can enhance our agencies and our funding for them. It allows additional agencies to ask for funding, and I would 100% encourage, and I've spoken with agencies that are in Groton to ask for funding through our budget. I think this is the perfect way to allow more agencies that serve Groton residents to receive funding through the budget process, where they all are vetted all at the same time. Everybody is looking at it. So I understand your concern, 100%. I think we should be funding nonprofits. I've worked in nonprofits for most of my, or a good portion of my life, and I understand how that funding works, and I understand the importance of it. I think we're looking at the same thing. I think we're just looking at it in two different ways. But I think that this puts money aside that will be used specifically to fund that, because far too often our outside agencies are the first thing that we look at cutting, and I don't want them cut. And that's why I'm approving this. Thank you.
Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. It wasn't until I made the recommendation and asked that other outside agencies that I had submitted and many others be added to this list. They weren't before this. This was only, again, we had no formal discussion. And that's all I asked. Open, transparent government. Meaning, ahead of time, before things come along, we invite these people around the table. We shouldn't be afraid to have them here. It should be just an open thing. We know how to get a hold of them. We have a human service office that deals with all these outside agencies. I'm asking for an open and fair process. What I'm also asking is, I don't want this to keep our tax level with them, and I asked to add the other agencies. So yes, I agree with Councilor Rusk in that sense. That is an enhancement. That is an improvement. But there's still no process of what that extra money, what's the application? It's not defined here. And I don't think it should just pay what we paid last year and then give another few agencies whatever little bit we have with this money. I think this money we pay as our taxpayer obligation. Like, we're gonna fund these other raises this year in our budget if we go through it line by line this year? This is a chance to enhance. That's what the money was for. The money wasn't to offset our tax base. It can be, it seems, because it was approved, but that's not the message I want to tell my people that are struggling, that I'm just looking to offset my tax base. What I'm looking to do is enhance my community. I want to show them that not only we as a town going to pay what we paid last year, we're going to double it. And not only that, thank you, Councilor Bordelon, for asking those other agencies to come, because we're going to add them on too. So now let's look at this. Imagine if we left everybody flat where they were last year, and we're able to add another 10 outside agencies with this money and funded them all. Wow, now that's helping the community. That's showing people. This is just not free money for us to just say, well, we're gonna, in my opinion, lower our obligation. If we want to enhance every other outside agency, let's do it the way we do it for them, and we can have a chance to do it tonight with this one. And I just don't agree with the process, if everyone can understand that. There is a process. And so we're leaving it open-ended. It says, and may apply. How? Through the mayor, through the town manager. What's that look like? Do we have an application process in place?
It hasn't been passed yet, so.
But there's nothing in place, correct? No. So there's nothing in place. So we're just doing stuff arbitrarily just to say that we're, and it was said many times, we're doing this to offset our taxes. I cannot go back out to my community and say I'm doing this, and oh, by the way, we got a few other agencies that get to squeeze onto the list. We do not. Does anyone, we could take this funny, why don't we open up a shelter here? Is anybody up for that? Because I've asked many times, and then people don't want it here. They don't want it. Keep it in New London. Not our problem. So we can't call them outside agencies. Those are our agencies. That is our right as a community to make sure people have a warm place to sleep, eat, and have a proper place to recover. And if I can't sit here and see everything else go up and then just say we're going to blanket this, so there's no process. But I'm not going to have the support tonight, so we will move on, and I'll support this in retrospect, but there is a better way through. And other communities are doing it, and Groton needs to get on board.
Councilor Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through the mayor to the town manager. What do we have for funds in this right now?
Give me a sec, I don't know where I've set in my head. About 195,000.
And how much did we pay out to the service agencies in the
In the
last fiscal?
150,000 range, though that's for those nonprofits. You could widen it to libraries, outside libraries, some of those other things.
Okay, so we have a little over 40,000 more than we have participants. So this is a good fund to add other agencies to. If we had other agencies that wanted to.
Yeah, I have added all the ones requested by Councilor Bordelon and onto our list to reach out to. I have created a draft form. We already have a form that we solicit their requests every year. I've created the first draft of a form to add in information about cannabis. And some of their activities might not fall under cannabis, so it might be half of those 150,000 could be taxpayer, half cannabis, and then the rest would be open to doing further than just that 40,000 over. So, and the council will get all those applications, and it could lead to you deciding, oh, that's a great program, we'll spend some extra taxpayer dollars on it.
And this is actually tax money coming back to us. It's a tax on the cannabis.
Correct.
So we can use this a little bit more broadly than other funds.
The guidelines are more broad than some of our other funds.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm all for it. Thank you very much.
Point of information.
Your question.
Can the town manager just repeat what the outside agencies that we funded last year total?
It's in the range of 150,000.
And how much is this money?
195,000. There'll be more by the time we get into our budget process, so there'll be more available.
And my point of information as well, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So if all the same agencies from last year request this year 150,000, we have the 195, so we're just gonna blanket that over the 150, we'll have the 45,000 left over that we could open up, is what you're saying? That's what this vote tonight means?
Well, not exactly that, because as I just mentioned, you have to look at what activities fall under the guidelines. It could be less than 150,000, it could be, let's say, even 100,000 fell into cannabis, we continue to use taxpayer dollars, so it could be more than that 45,000. Plus, we're gonna receive more dollars by then, so it's gonna be more than that anyhow.
All right, and the last part of my point of information, so one could then, with the tax dollars, just pay the 150 we normally, which I get, it's 150,000 on a big budget, and we could take that 195,000 and fund a whole bunch of new resources and not, like, it could be more robust. So we have an option to do either or, is what you're saying, but we're gonna blanket it.
Once we have those applications, the council can do as they wish. Well, you'll have the applications in front of you.
But this vote tonight is to pay our obligation of the 150 and $100,000 in tax,
To use it towards it. It might not, like, again, it might not actually be 150.
but
you
not
don't
to
know.
enhance it. So what I see here is an opportunity to fund
Council
200.
Bordelon, you've asked your question. Now
Sure.
it-
Yeah.
I'm going to take a moment. This is tax dollars that we receive because Connecticut has now allowed marijuana sale in the state of Connecticut, and it's a tax that people pay when they buy marijuana. It is being given back to the town, a portion of those taxes. I think this is a good way to put additional even agencies into our outside services. Mr. Burt, the town manager, has drafted an application process to be sent out, which I obviously think he's going to be bringing to the council. So this can assist with outside agencies. We currently have about as was said, $150,000 in outside agencies. Not all of them may fall into cannabis. Not all of them might fit the requirements. So let's just say that their request is for 100,000 in this upcoming budget, and we have 195. The goal is to spend the 195, so we are going to enhance them. That's how I foresee it. You can also, as was said, contribute to the libraries as well. And I also want to note that we also, besides outside agencies, we also have a department in the town of Groton, which is our Human Service Department, which also helps people in a wide array of ways. So sometimes outside agencies are a way that we fund that the town itself cannot assist with. So we help, we don't like to duplicate processes, so we pay for outside agencies to take up some of that. I think this is a good way, and this council in the next council will decide also in their budget processes exactly how to spend the money, and the applications will go out as they currently do. And when we're in our budget book, towards the back of the book, are the responses from all of these outside agencies that say what they do, why they would like the money they're asking for. They justify it, they give us a synopsis in full detail. And if there are additional outside agencies, that will be there as well. And the council will be able to decide, as we did last year, when we were having some cannabis money, we gave to Always Home because there was a homelessness issue going on at the time, and when we were dealing with some local homeless camps in our community. So I'm all in favor of this, and seeing no other hands, we're
Point
going
of
to take a
information?
vote. I've already called for a vote.
I'd like to put an amendment on the floor.
I've already called for a vote.
It was pretty rushed, you didn't look down the podium, so I would ask for your grace.
Council Bordelon,
I can put an amendment at any point.
what is your amended motion?
Thank you. My amended motion would be that the 195,000 be used to enhance the already 150 that's being funded under the ones that can be, and also the remaining to be used for any new agencies coming in. Let me just think this out. My thought process is, and how I'm trying to.
I need a motion on the floor first.
I'm thinking through it. Give me a minute, please. Let me think through my process.
I just want to say to you, I need to be able to write it down so I
understand
can
that.
repeat it.
As you
Thank
said, I've been up here 6 years, so I understand that. So, 150,000 is what we already spend. We already know that in our tax, that we usually spend that. what I'm trying to understand, and that's why I'm trying to make sure my motion is correct, is we still can open up the application process as I recommended. We can make that 195 for the new application process, for the new agencies coming online, and enhance the remaining on the already funding agencies to give them more money.
Counselor Borderline,
Let me
this is a
finish. I'm getting there.
discussion. Your time has expired.
Great,
You have
so-
no time left.
Oh, I know.
If you would like to put an amended motion on,
So
I
my
need the actual
motion would
amendment.
be that we fund out of our normal tax season our outside agencies as we've always done. We take this 195,000 and open that up to the new applicants and enhance all the other outside agencies that we're funding if they fall within that. So that's where they actually get a raise. But we're also bring online some new agencies. That would be my motion.
I have two things. I don't know if this is an allowable motion because you are trying to make a motion for what's happening in the next budget session.
Isn't that what we're doing here?
But you're saying that they have to fund the current outside agencies as normal, and you can't tell a future council how to fund an agency.
So what are we doing here in this motion?
You're saying you're going to put it into the budget. That's what you're saying. You're going to put the process into the budget and potentially give increases.
So my point of information is that what we're doing here is we're saying
But
we're
how
taking
it's spent
this.
in the future budget is up to that council who sits there at the time.
Right, and I think then, I think the process for outside agencies should flow like we normally do.
So let me say, what I'm hearing is your amended motion could possibly be to apply $195,000 to be used to enhance new applicants for outside agencies. That would be, I think, a possible amended motion there.
I can go there with you a little bit. I think that's kind of what I'm saying, and then enhance the other agencies that we already typically fund if they fall and meet the criteria. Because I don't want it to be this or that. I don't want it to be that my goal is that we're not just giving them the flatline budget that we normally do. I want this money to be an enhancement on top of.
So what I have as an amended motion by Councilor Bordelon is to apply $195,000 to be used to enhance new applicants and current outside agencies.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That sounds good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there a second?
I have a point of.
Your point of information?
Should we put the number in that motion? Because we don't
Council
know what that
Bordelon's
number is
amended-
going to be.
Councilor Bordelon's amended motion is to put $195,000 to be used to enhance new applicants and current outside agencies, which honestly, I think would have to go back to committee of the whole, because I think it's so different than what is currently on there. Is that correct, Mr. Burt?
Unless you suspend the rules requiring committee approval.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I think it's so different than what the current motion is that it has to, it's not an amendment. It's not to just,
So I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
there's a motion request to suspend the rules on the floor by Bordelon. Do I have a second? I don't have a second.
Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing any other hands related to this item.
I have my hand up.
Your point of information, you have used both of your times.
I got to use whatever I got to do to get the job done, right? So my other question, and those don't count, amendments or motions. My other question is, parliamentally, can I put something down to have this go back to be reconsidered? Would that be appropriate?
You can make a motion to send this back to committee of the
So
whole.
I'm using
for
everything I
discussion.
have, so I just, bear with me. We get our 2 turns to speak, and we're allowed to make those other motions, so that's what I'm doing. I'd like to put a motion on the floor to give you guys another chance to reconsider this.
Point of information,
Your question.
is this under a time constraint?
No.
There is no time constraints to the spending of this money. This, as written, would go into the next budget. this money would go into the next budget, which would be seen in 2026-27's budget.
So if we go back to the committee of the whole, and then come back to the town council, it's not gonna change anything in the future. This will still get done before next tax season.
It can, this is, if it is so the wishes of the council.
If we're just gonna, if Council Borderline's motion is just to send it back to the committee of the whole, so we can discuss it a little bit further, a little bit more in depth, I can second that.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Can we have, yes, Councilor Parker?
There's disturbance in the galley.
Thank you. Can we please have quiet in the galley? So we have to, Councilor Bordelon's motion to to send back to committee of the whole.
Mayor, just to be clear, I believe then when it gets there, it'll be a motion to reconsider on the floor.
They would have to pass a motion to reconsider back at the cow.
Am I allowed to speak to my reason? Is it debatable?
Just a moment, please. All right, to move the item back to committee, it needs a second. It is debatable. It can be amended. It needs a majority vote, and it cannot be reconsidered. Councilor Bordelon.
So my reason is this. There's no rush. It's not being allocated right away anyway. Let's really refine this process. It might be in fact that, 100,000 is what we're going to use to supplement or not, but I just really want a chance for those outside agencies to have a chance around the table to come speak, and they have not been invited to the floor to speak, to talk, to represent their agencies. And I think this is a great opportunity. This is money, again, for the people out there that are smoking marijuana. We're getting a tax break on it. People that were being locked up for using marijuana at one point, now we're debating on where that money goes. Isn't this a change in the world? And I don't know where you stand on it or not, that's not my business, but my point is. And there are people that do become addicted from cannabis use. And so here we are, having a chance to make sure that this goes to the most vulnerable people in our community. That's all I ask. I ask for this council's grace to stand with me on this, and let's open up this fair process like we said we were going to do last year, and then let's move forward. And I heard many people say that they're hoping that the application process is open. That's something that wasn't on here at the last meeting that I asked, and so I'm thankful for that. But I don't want to just fund the 150 like we always do, or whatever that number is. I think it should be an enhancement on top of. We have an obligation. When we look at our tax thing, as I stated, it's less than like 1 or 2% of the total budget is $150,000. And we want to use this money to offset our taxes? No. At least I want to walk away on this council and say, we don't have a shelter, we don't have this program, we don't have that, but you know what? I gave $150,000 of our taxpayer dollars to these agencies, and you know what? 195 more came in, and I was able to give those agencies more, and guess what? We brought on 10 more outside agencies online. That's what we can send a message to. And if we really do care about addiction and the services and the needs and the community, let's put the support where we say we are. It's $150,000. Through the mayor, to the town manager, what was our budget last year that we allocated, roughly?
Towards 160 million.
$160 million. And I'm asking for a service of $150,000 for people in need. That's all I asked you guys. And I know I don't always get the support up here, but come on with me on this one. Join me. Join me on something, please. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to speak on this as well. Outside agencies are invited to the town council budget sessions to be able to speak on the funding that they are requesting. I also want to make a note that the draft application is not open. There is a draft process with an application, and it's only in the draft form. This is for the council to consider, which councilors have received via email a draft application. I think the whole purpose of this, from what I understood, was to put this in the budget and to make it all possible to do it at one time. I am absolutely in favor of some of those outside agencies getting funding as well as additional ones, but I will say I'm also not in favor of just, and it may seem maybe not very popular, but to give more money than what they're even requesting, or if they have a real purpose for something, that they should request it and validate it to the council in a process, which I think can be done during the budget process. So if an agency is asking for a certain amount of money, I don't want to just give them additional money when they are in not need of it at this time. So I'm in favor of the current motion on the floor as it stands. This council can do as they choose. But it's not that I'm not in favor of these additional agencies and giving them funding, because that could be done during the budget process. And as was stated before, this makes, if it goes into the budget, it makes it much harder to be able to cut any of the outside services as well.
Mayor.
Mr. Burt?
You touched on it earlier. I just want to reiterate that you can make the funds available to be used there. You can't require the council or myself in my budget to actually fully use them. I could choose zero in my budget, and then it's up to the council what they do, just to make that clear.
Correct. All right, my time, Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too am supporting the original motion that's on the floor. I've seen 2 or 3 drafts of the application that the town manager is putting together. I like the direction it's going. It has a lot of room for information. It has some good accounting and financial data that'll give us better tools on trying to figure out where things are going. So I'm excited about that form. We have had a simple version of that form, but now we're getting a much more complete version. Again, we've often sat here and had no agencies come forward, so they're well aware that we have money and we do things, and they're all free to come here. I'm always sort of amazed that that they don't have somebody come here and look for more funds when they know that they're here. So I'm in favor of what's existing on the floor, and I'm excited to see the application of what the town manager is doing and have that go through a cycle so we can see how it works and get it tweaked and make it correct. And then it will then open itself out to outside agencies and give us tools to adequately judge those organizations and then be able to give money. So, thank you.
Councilor Bordelon?
So again, I please ask that you don't huff when I speak, respectfully. I have a right to speak, and I'm taking my time.
Councilor Bordelon, please
Thank
don't
you.
direct any comments to fellow councilors.
Well,
Thank
through
you.
the mayor, could you please, I call point of order. I just would ask for the grace and not the seem exasperated when I go to speak. It's insulting to me. That's all.
I didn't hear anybody.
I'm calling a point of order.
I know, but I didn't hear it, so I can't
Sure.
make a judgment call on it. I did not hear it.
All right, thank you. Again, there was no process in place. We didn't get fair and equal access to do such. It was only recently, since I sent in things, that now outside agencies are even being considered. Most of these other outside agencies, you tell me what outside agency like ARC that was cut overwhelmingly during COVID, people with disabilities, families had nowhere for those adult and children to go. They're afraid to come to towns and ask for any more because they're cut every year overwhelmingly. You tell me what agency, if they normally ask for $2,000, some of these, if you didn't send out a letter saying, hey, we got an extra 50,000 where we can enhance that this year, that they wouldn't say, we can find a use. As a person who works as a client advocate, as a person who's worked with a lot of outside agencies and nonprofits in my lifetime, as a volunteered as well as paid, I'll tell you right now, there's not one agency out there that can't find a spot for an extra $1,000, or another bed, or more food, or more clothing, or more stock for the shelter. So we have an opportunity. And again, you can say you just want to leave it like this and, roll with the way that it was, and we'll allocate our normal taxes, and this will help offset what we normally pay. We have a chance because people are smoking marijuana in our community, and we have an opportunity to use that money in a way that's positive, that can impact our youth, our families, our programs. And to say that communities haven't come, haven't been asked, they haven't been offered, only until recently. Most of the agencies I reached out when I said, are you guys aware of all this? They weren't invited to come initially, ever. So we can't just say, I'm not surprised. And that open floor process during the budget, you weren't allowed to just come on as an outside agency randomly. We had a fixed outside agency that's been there since the 7 years I've been elected. And not one person was ever allowed the platform to stand up at the podium and say, I'm Community of Hope and I'd like to be added today because I just found out about your program. So that's why you haven't had them. So we have a chance now to correct that record, move forward in a way that's robust. Again, how much did we spend last year on our budget? This is a microgram of money that we can use to enhance. And all I'm asking is, let's spend whatever we normally spend, and let's take this money and enhance the other programs that already come in that fit into it, and give some money to some new agencies coming in. And I thank the town manager for taking the lead and listening to us, to me, finally, I feel, and open up the application process, but that wasn't part of our original agenda item when we got it. That took a lot of this back and forth and people huffing and becoming overwhelmed and frustrated with the process and wanting to push it through.
Councilor Bordelon, please don't do the motives of your fellow
Sure,
councilors.
that's great.
Thank you.
I'll wait for my second.
That was your second.
Fine.
Councilor Parker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to confirm, it does say the previous resolution, or when we the first motion, says cost for funding service agencies. As part of that, we can extend any information to those funding service agencies. It could be anyone that comes on board. We do have the draft that we all received within the last 2 weeks of the form that the town manager has updated and said he can add to the ones that Councilor Bordelon has sent in, which would be part of the budgeting process, which would be part of the funding service agencies line item. So I don't feel we have to go back to redo this because they would be part of the funding service agency, because it has to come back in by January, if I'm remembering correctly, so that the budget process can be to us by March 15th. So there is a set process of everything of what's going on. It's going to include other agencies so that they can become part of the annual budget. So that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Point of information?
Your question.
My understanding with this motion here, we were looking to take this 195 and just offset what we normally paid, and then the remaining maybe give to outside agencies. I just wanted to be clear, because the question that was just saying, what I was asking in my motion was that we pay our normal tax and we take this money to enhance the already and the new. So it's more money. That's the difference. That's what I'm asking for. So I agree with Councilor Parker, that will be part of it, but I want a more robust. I want to see this.
Councilor Bordelon, what is your question?
So my question is, this does not do that. This motion here is just funding them at the normal request, possibly, and adding some new agencies and offsetting our taxes. That's what the line here says, tax revenue use. So we're not enhancing it by much. We're just offsetting what we already were doing.
Councilor Bordelon, that's not a question.
That's
Thank
my
you.
question. That's what this is.
It's not a question.
My question is that what the plan is with this motion?
The motion on the floor is to help offset tax costs for funding service agencies as part of the annual budget process, or also give annual one-time increases for special items and issues. So it means whoever's in our budget at the time even if it's new people in the budget, come the next budget, they will get their, whatever the council passes, and if there's somebody that is doing something special, they potentially could get more. That is how this is written. Counselor Rusk.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Counselor Parker had her hand up.
Counselor Parker, are you continuing with your time? Did you still
No.
have time left? I'm
I
sorry.
did, but it's fine. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, again, just a thought process that we will be doing this as part of the enhancement. We don't have, when funding service agencies submit their request to the town manager, we don't know what they're going to be asking for. So at this point in time, we can't just give extra money of the $195,000 because we don't know what the request is going to be. Until that request comes in, we cannot just give out the things. It says to help the rest as part of the annual budget, or also give a one-time increase for special items and uses, which we don't have, again, the application to say, hey, they have a request, or they haven't sent in a letter saying, I need this money now for X, Y, and Z. We don't have that right now, so we can't do that. So, again, I'm going to stick with the main motion on the floor because it has everything that we need within it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to send it back to the cow. Moved by Bordelon, seconded by Pacino. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Abstentions? All right, that fails 2 to 6 to 0. We're on to the main motion. Not seeing any hands, so we're going to take a vote on the main motion of the 2025-687-2, cannabis tax revenue use. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Passes 7 to 0 to 1 with Bordelon abstaining.
Point of information?
Your question?
This will go to the RTM, right?
Not until it's in the budget, not policy, no.
Okay, but the opioid one will,
Yes.
so they can go speak, because it's going to have, okay, perfect.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
prior to the next vote, I will be recusing myself.
All right, Counselor Rusk is recusing herself?
I request a 5-minute recess.
Sure, it's 8:38. We're taking a 5-minute recess. It's 8:49. We are back from recess. Sorry, much longer than we anticipated. All right, we currently have 6 counselors here present. We are taking on 2025-689-2 opioid settlement revenue use. This is on page 24 of our packet. Counselor Merritt, would you like to take it? On page 24, we just need to read the resolves, please.
2025-689 opioid settlement revenue use resolution. Resolved to forward the funding request to the representative town meeting per RTM Rule 6.5.3.
Second, Jones?
Moved by Merrick, seconded by Jones. All right, I see no comments. We're going to take a vote on 2025-6.
My hand was up.
You weren't present.
I was present when my hand was up.
Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. I didn't have much support on the last one, and that's fine. Again, I speak the same with this one. And I said before, I would ask that we reconsider this. I just think it's no disrespect to Community Speaks Out. They received all of the funding for the last, I believe it was 3 years, totaling 138,000? And all I just want to see is other agencies have a fair shot and opportunity to have fair and equal access to this funding. It wasn't a fair application process. It wasn't opened up to the community. It was on the agenda, and it was kind of like, nope, it's on the agenda. There was no precursor to it weeks in advance asking counselors to submit. When the agenda came out, Community Speaks Out, and Ledge Light, Gasp were already on there as the 2 suggestions. That's what we got for direction. Again, I asked a year ago, years before, we said, oh, we'll let you know when it gets closer, and we'll let you know when the agenda is coming, and we'll give you a chance so we can have open, fair process. There's been no formal interview, no formal application process. No other agency has a chance to come and speak to us and submit an application. It's been said that we want to keep the funding in Groton. Well, as we heard tonight, there's more than one, and some that have been, Community Speaks Out's a phenomenal agency that's, fairly new in retrospect. Before they were around, there were other agencies like Community of Hope that were doing the work. And they deserve just as much of the support. So my concern is not with who's getting it. I just want to make sure we're spreading it, because when you put all your funding into one thing, you bottlenose it. When you truly articulate those funds into different agencies, now you're helping a systemic issue. Like I stated, if I had a problem tonight and I needed help and I called Mr. Dela Cruz and said, hey, he's like, what do you need? I'm like, I need a detox, or I have a friend who needs a detox. They're going to contact, I'm a female, there's a women's shelter in Groton, Community of Hope. That is a service that's in Groton providing services. Not any of these agencies, none of them only support Groton residents. So let's be clear on that. Many of the things in the, Community Speaks Out, there's some New London folks in there, some Norwich, they come. I've been to some of the events back in the day at the softball. They're from all over New London County, and some even a little bit further. But that doesn't change the fact of the work that they do. Just because your hub house is located in Groton doesn't make that the difference of where the funding goes. That just happens to be where the address is. Anybody from the region can use services there. So the arguments were, we want to make sure it goes to Groton residents and it goes to a Groton-based agency. Groton-based doesn't mean that they're only servicing Groton residents. It's a broad base of New London. It's a systemic, and I'll wait for my next turn.
I'd just like to restate that.
Are you taking your turn?
Yes.
Counselor, we're good.
I'd just like to restate that seeing the requirements of the use of these funds, understanding the spirit of these funds, seeing what Community Speaks Out is all about. I encourage anybody to go and visit their website, and also having people very close to me fighting this epidemic tonight as we speak. I feel that the funds are tailor-made for what Community Speaks Out is doing, and I fully support authorizing all of the funds to go to Community Speaks Out, and I hope the council will consider it. Thank you.
Council Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I abstained last week because I had a different thought process of how to do it, because in previous, yes, I'm going to go there. In previous years, we did 80-20. I'm still of the same belief. I support Community Speaks Out. I've been to many of their events. I just want to make sure that we give equal footing to everyone. But that's my thought, but the will of the council was 100%. So, thank you.
Council Bordelon.
Thank you. So as we know, like many folks that struggle with addiction, the first time they go into some type of service, it usually doesn't work the first time. And the ones that do, they're very lucky. Most folks need to go into multiple different agencies, and sometimes with that, as you know, loved ones or people you've known that you went to high school with or people in the community, sometimes you burn a bridge, right? Because addiction, not saying everyone that's addicted does this, but sometimes there's theft involved, and they burn those bridges with family members, and, you know, like they do things that they wouldn't have done if they weren't addicted or in that type of situation. And so as a result, you could show up at one agency and, you know, that one didn't work for you, and you're like, okay, well, I burned that bridge, where else can I go, right? It's so vital that we are making sure this funding is spread evenly. And I can respect what Mr. Good says as far as it being a great agency, you know, people have used it. But 100% of funds and locking it all in one place you're crippling all the other programs by doing that. In no way do you put all your stock in one thing. No, I don't. I have a portfolio. And I diversify my funds. Why? Because when one fails, you got to pull. You got to know when to hold, know when to fold, right? And the same thing happens with addiction and things. It takes a community. And there's something called Recovery Groton, which Community of Hope is part of. So isn't Community Speaks Out in many other agencies. And they service everybody from every community. If you understand addiction, understand most folks don't even have a known address sometimes. They're struggling to keep, you know, with addiction, like a residence because of records and other things. So therefore they are like jumping from resident to resident. So some of them might be Groton residents at one time, now they're in Norwich, now they're in New London, we take New London residents. Like if you understand it truly, you'll understand that it's a process. And the reason I cannot support 100% going to Community Speaks Out is they are one of the resources in this big umbrella of opportunity. Again, as I stated, they don't have detox beds. They don't have the shelters. They help you find a bed. They might help fund somewhere. But they don't have all of the things it takes to truly detox. They don't have licensed therapists. They have a lot of more. They might be bringing some on. I don't want to wrongly speak, but I know that some of the people that they have are people that have family members that are battling recovery. But some people need a clinical licensed psychologist. When you detox, you need a clinical bed with drugs and medication because it can kill you when you're detoxing. Those services Community Speaks Out does not have. They'll help you find the bed. They might help pay the fee to get you in there or something like that. But we also need to fund something like Community of Hope, which has beds here in Groton. This council said they wanted to make sure it was going to Groton-based services. There are more. And when we send a message that we're only going to give it to one, we already did that one. We already did that for 3 consecutive years. It's time this year. I'm not saying we can't give them. Let's give them 1%. So I'd like to make a new amended motion.
Your amended motion?
I say we give 50% to Community Speaks Out. We're continuing to fund them. I say the other 15, we look at applications and processes of the other people who were on the list to come in and to apply for the remaining.
What was your percentage? 50?
50% to Community Speaks Out.
And then 50?
To be open to other agencies to apply, like Community of Hope, like Malta, and like all the other agencies that service Groton residents and some that are Groton-based.
Thank you. We need a second on this. Thank you. I have an amended motion to give 50% to Community Speaks Out and 50% to other applicants. Am I hearing a second? I'm not hearing a second.
I'd like to make another motion.
Your motion?
I did hear one counselor say she wasn't in support of all of it going, so I'm not sure what her number is. Maybe she could help me, and maybe I can get a second. How about 75% to Community Speaks Out, 25% to outside agencies?
Second for discussion.
Perfect. Thank you. My thought, again, we have an obligation. It's a chain event, a chain system. Community Speaks Out can't do their job solely by themselves without the other agencies. And again, we cannot just keep giving all the money to one. Joe's a great guy. We all know him. He was a state rep. He was a town councilor. He's friends of all of the community. He's Democratic. We're all Democrats up here. But just because we know him, it can't be our only source.
Council Borderline, please don't use the motives
I'm
of the
not saying
councilors.
motive. I'm saying it because I'm partial to him too. I know him. And that's why I'm asking
But
for
you're
a
using
fair.
the motives of the council, please.
I'll use my
Please
motive.
don't.
I know you, Joe, and I know you've been to some of your fundraisers. I want a fair and open access with an application process. That's the proper way. And I don't think we have. And I think, my opinion, Representative Joe, former rep, counselor, he has an easy access to us easier and other agencies didn't know about it. So let's open up that floor. Here's our chance now. And I'm sure Community Speaks Out, I'm hoping, would want to fund the other outside agencies. It'd be great to hear from them, to hear them say, yeah, go for it. Because we cannot just fund everything. When you do that, you cripple systems. If all funding went to one thing, then everything else would, as a result, fall. So if we truly, in my opinion, if I truly feel I care about the opioid epidemic and the addiction process in the town of Groton, which it's not just Groton that they're serving, then we would want to make sure all the other beds are served, meaning detox, meaning beds, meaning homes, meaning workforce programs, all the programs that fall under that recidivism, preventing that recidivism rates in our community and making sure addiction is hit head on, because it doesn't take just one program. And it's great that we know Joe, and I feel great that I know Joe, and I'm happy that this is a great new program, but I can't sit here and tell Community of Hope that's been here since '05 that they're not just as worthy of 100% of those funds. And in fact, they haven't gotten any of the funds before. Why wouldn't we make a motion to give them 100%? We already gave it to them for 3 years. It's time to spread the wealth and make sure we're doing it. And it's not about liking or disliking, it's about what's right for the community. So that is my reason for that. I, again, don't even agree with those percents fully, but I'm just trying to show that, there is other ways here. And my next question, really quick, if you could pause, point of, through the mayor, this funding is for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? How many years are we, this motion?
1 year through the end of this calendar year.
1 year. Right. So, again, I also think this motion should state that it also opens up a fair and equitable process and a new application process. So through the mayor to the town manager, would I have to send a referral in? Would you like that to open up this? How, there should be, other towns put blasts on things saying we have these funded. Their human service office reached out to the outside agencies. How do we change this so this doesn't happen again? That's my question.
Council vote.
I'm sorry?
It has to be a council vote. So you have to get to the vote first and then give
No,
your direction.
that's not, you're misunderstanding my question. My question was, year after year, when the funding's available, when will you start to post this so outside agencies know that they can apply?
As soon as the councils say they want to provide the funds and have that process open, that's what
So
you're
it hasn't
discussing.
never been open is what I'm getting at. So we need to. So I will be making referral to make sure that there is a referral process in place. Thank you.
Councilor Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to Mr. Burt, could you tell me, I believe the last 3 years were 80-20, not 100%. I don't think it was.
I think there was only 1 year of 80-20 and 2 of 100, but give me a moment if you can. I gotta go back to an earlier agenda if you give me a moment.
Thank you. while he's looking it up, my thought process, I really was looking at 80/20, as we've done at least 1 year before, if that's the case, and to give others opportunity, but also to have an application process, because we also have to make sure that they're providing the services, and we need to know where they've used their money and everything, and I can agree with that. And Community Speaks Out did come to us in February and provide us an update, so it's not that they have not provided us an update, they have. So just want to be clear on that part, and giving us the information where the money went to and how it was used. My thought is to have it.
Mr. Burt has an answer
Okay.
for you.
All 3 years, all of the funding for opioids went to Community Speaks Out. It was the cannabis money for 1 year that partially went to Always Home.
All right, so I misspoke, but it's been a few years that we've had this discussion, and we always come back to this discussion. If we can open it up as an application process, I would feel good that we have others that can do this too. I won't name them all because there's many, but I know Community Speaks Out is here, and they are based here, and it'd be nice to give them at least 80% of it. But the will of the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Bordelon.
Again, I can appreciate Community Speaks Out coming, and they are always here. I mean, no disrespect, Representative Dela Cruz knew about these funds when the state was doing them when he was elected up there. I mean, and that's great, and he's been involved, and so he's been able to. Other agencies haven't had the same fair equal access. So again, I'm meeting some of these new outside agencies that I was not even aware of, and now they do know. But as a town councilor, my job is to also serve the people, but a lot of the other towns, their human service department is the one sending out the threads on Facebook, social media, emails. They put it up way before it even makes an agenda item and says, hey, here's the application process, here's the agencies we're looking to fund this year. That's all I ask. And if only Community Speaks Out shows up, we did our part. That's all I ask. We haven't done any of that. We haven't even scratched the surface on, there's nothing anywhere telling people to apply anywhere. And in the years prior, where we gave the Community Speaks Out 100% for 3 consecutive years, it was talked about over and over to exhaustion that, don't worry, the next time we'll come up with a process.
Council Bordelon, please don't do the motives of other councilors. Thank you.
No motive. I'll speak on my motive. I asked. And the opportunity was never there. The agenda item popped up, 2 people's names were on it, and that was it. I was told, nope, this is what we got. I said, is there an application process, or is this just a couple names, or what are we doing? This is what we've got. So I'm just asking, again, opioid money on people who have died. Here we are advocating and trying to get it dispersed evenly. Other programs have helped people in our community just as well as Community Speaks Out. Other community members would advocate for those funds to be dispersed evenly. So I put 75 because I couldn't get, the other split. I'm not saying they don't deserve any, but they've had 3 years of the pot. Let's open it up. So I too agree with Councilor Parker. Where's our application process? We need one. We can't just say, well, they've been coming. Well, again, no offense. Joe knows our stuff. He was up here. He was elected on the town council. He has good access to this. He knows the forum and he knows what's coming. It doesn't mean the other agencies have that same equal access. Nothing is posted anywhere. So what I asked for, I guess through the mayor to the town manager, do you need a referral to start listing these, or how are you going to start to move forward? Because now we're at year 4 and we haven't been doing it.
Until the council votes, I can't do anything with it. And if the council votes to do it directly this year, then
So
you'd be
the
talking about
town
future
is
years. You
okay
could do a
with
referral.
the town is okay with every year giving it to one agency for 3 consecutive
You'll
years?
do a referral. I need.
You want a referral?
For
Okay,
a later
for
year,
sure.
if there's,
Right.
you know.
Right, and I guess where it was left before was the hopes of that someone would contact and say, hey, we're opening this up, and that never happened. So, again,
Thank you.
thanks.
Mr. Burt, I'm going to take my time. Mr. Burt, if one of the agencies, I'm just going to ask you some of the questions. If an agency specializes in homelessness, which may be a result of opioids, but their focus is on homelessness, do you think that they would qualify to receive this opioid settlement money?
I'd want some more details, but they may not, but I can't say that for sure. I'd want to look at each individual case.
And that's also my question, if focuses on housing is potentially, may not cover this, that's my concern, and that's why in previous meetings, I had said some of these other agencies would best be suited for cannabis money. A process, having a process on anything is every counselor's right to bring forward, but by a referral and to come up with ideas on how to do such things. It is not the town's job to do the work of this council.
Point of order.
It is our job as.
Point of order.
Your point of order.
I don't like the motive. It's the town's job and the mayor's job to make sure we are known to give a referral.
That is not a point of order question.
Right, so.
That is not a point of order.
Please don't
Thank
use
you.
that wording.
That is
Thank
not
you.
a point of
So,
order.
It is a point of order.
No, it is
It'd be,
a
I feel it's
factual
disrespectful.
process.
Disrespectful.
It is a factual process that all counselors here have the right to bring forward referrals and to come up with an idea on how to deal with a process. It is not the town manager's job to do this work.
Point of order.
For the council.
Point of order.
That is a fact.
Point of order.
Your point of order.
I feel doesn't have merit, it's out of line. We have a human service department who does that work. We're not paid.
That's not a point of order.
Yes, it is.
That's
So
not a
you're
point of
wrongly
order.
speaking,
I'm
wrongly
sorry.
representing.
That
You're
is not
speaking
a-
on behalf of all counselors. Speak
I'm
for
not
yourself.
speaking on behalf of all
You are.
counselors.
You said
I am
counselors.
showing a process.
You said council.
I am saying it is a process that all counselors have the right to bring forward. It is a process. It is not my motives of any counselors. It is not my thoughts or opinion. It is a fact. Every counselor here can bring forward.
And the
a
mayor could have let
referral.
us know you were putting on the agenda so we could have sent for our items, but you didn't.
Point of order.
Your point of order.
A counselor had made a point of order. It was ruled on by the mayor. It's not up for debate. If they would
Thank
like
you.
to appeal it, please do.
You are
I'd like to
correct.
appeal it.
All right, let me get- It's not something that happens every day. Let's see. You need a second.
To appeal?
Yes. Is there any second? I do not hear a second.
Perfect.
So anyway, going forward, I would think that a process sounds like a good idea. We currently have on the amended motion is 75 for Community Speaks Out and 25 for outside agencies. I guess we'll take a vote. Is there any more comments? All right, we're going to take a vote on the amended motion of 75% to Community Speaks Out and 25% to outside agencies. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Abstentions? That fails 2 to 5 to 0. It was Merritt, Pacino, Jones, Good, Franco, opposed. We're back to the main motion on the floor.
Point of information?
Your question?
So back the other time when this first came before us, gas was also on here and now they're disappeared. What happened to that original agenda item?
That was in the committee of the whole. It did not pass.
So so they were on there, so, okay. Oh, all right, thank you for that clarifying
Thank you.
question.
All right, seeing no other hands?
I have my hand up.
You have no more time left.
I'm putting a new motion on the floor. Would you like me to interrupt?
Your amended motion?
Couldn't get 75, would it be frivolous to do 80? Through the mayor, manager, mayor?
I think that might be too close to what's current, what was the failed motion.
What about 90, that?
You want to do 90%
Yep.
to 10% for outside agencies? I have an amended motion of request for 90% to see it, Community Speaks Out and 10% to outside agencies. Do I have a second? I don't hear a second. We're back to the main motion on the floor. All right, seeing no other hands, we're going to take a vote on 2025-689-2 opioid settlement revenue reuse. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain. Motion to adjourn?
I haven't called the vote yet. I have, that passes 6-0 to 1 with Bordelon abstaining, and I have one recusal of Rusk. Counselor Rusk is now going to come back to the table.
Motion to adjourn?
We are waiting for Counselor Rusk to show up at the table.
Point of inquiry?
I have a motion to adjourn on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn by Bordelon, seconded by Jones. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? That passes 6-2 to 0. We are adjourned at 9:17 PM.